Today we're gonna do a little impromptu quickie video about one of OMC's dumber ideas. Back in the late 80s, quite specifically 1988, they had decided that the underhood of the two-cylinder stuff, and I don't know, three cylinders, I hadn't got into any in that vintage in a really long time, so I can't remember if they had it or not, but the two cylinders definitely, from 20 horse on up to, there was a couple 60 horse two cylinders floating around. They're rare, but anyway, the big twins and the small twins, even, well, hell, I take that back, even the 9.9s and 15s had this setup. Anything that had that setup we referred to as time bomb motors. The reason being, is we'll address here in a moment, is they changed the ignition system on these little guys, and we're going to go through that with you right now. All right. This is one of the time bomb motors, but this was converted. What are you barking at now? There's nobody here. Anyway, if you're looking at this, this is your mag plate. Okay, you've got a charge coil for your power packs. This is your charging system. This is where you get battery voltage. This is what charges your battery, and this is what's known as a trigger. Okay, this is not genuine OMC. This is a replacement part. Okay, CDI made a kit to take care of what was this contraption. This was what was known as UFI, or under flywheel ignition. What under flywheel ignition was in OMC's infinite wisdom, they felt that this cluttered up the engine compartment under the hood too much, so they did away with this and stuffed it in this. So you had the trigger and the power pack in one unit. The problem with that, I mean, it sounds like a good idea, but it really wasn't, because under the flywheel, they didn't have the longevity that the style that had the external packs had, because you'd get heat buildup under here, number one. And the reason we called them time bombs was the added weight of this and the magnets pulling on it would create a harmonic. Okay, so the RPM range on these little guys was 5,500 RPM. I don't know of anybody that ran these things at 5,500 RPM with any sort of longevity. They would rattle themselves to death and come apart, and then you'd have a mess on your hands. You'd end up replacing this, take this whole thing off, and throw it the fuck away. Gone. Boom. Okay, one of the things you should note, like this is your mag retainer, or your mag plate bolts onto this. Okay, and that's what your linkage down here hooks on. The way if you've got one of these that doesn't have a power pack on the outside, look around in this area here and see if you're seeing metal shavings. If you've got a problem with hard starting, or it's just not running right, something's wrong, look there and see if you've got metal shavings laying around. And then the surefire thing to do, this little link right here, grab a hold of it and see if you can move it side to side. It's got movement this way, that's by design, but it should not move side to side. This one here, it was on its way out, because it's kind of hard to do this one-handed, but you can definitely see that thing's moving side to side. So with all that under the flywheel, that's why that would get destroyed. This would end up going and or the screws would rattle loose and they'd back out and cause infinite mass destruction under the flywheel. I've seen them as bad sometimes as where you ended up needing a new flywheel because they destroy the magnets and shit under the flywheel. What OMC, in their infinite wisdom, what they decided to do, and this is an original and I can't even believe that, but they, when you bought a new one of these, this UFI unit, they gave you a chunk of rubber that was supposed to go under here, and that was supposed to take care of all your problems. Fail. Massive fail. When one of these comes in, and this motor here, it overheated, so I'm taking all this stuff off. I located a UFI power head, and it still had the original stuff on it. The motor was kind of a cream puff, but the guy, I don't think he used it much, but I never seen one with an original pack on it still. Usually they self-destructed before that, but here's what we do with these UFI units at HBH Repair and Service. See that I'm kind of going with the finger. And that's what we do with them. Again, 9, 9, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 50, 55, 60. All had that UFI ignition from 1988 through 1992. I think the early part of 1992 is when they went back to the old style. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, folks, I think is what the point is here. So they believed in it for 4 years, and then it was just problematic, and they did away with it and went back to the old style. Anyway, that's the little kind of bullshit tutorial about OMC's UFI ignition systems and why we get rid of them. Oh, another way, if you wanted to tell, especially on these 20s through 35s, the starter gear on a UFI motor on these ones, the 20 through 35s, had a 9-tooth starter. If you open the hood and you see a 9-tooth starter and no power pack hanging there, run for the hills, because it probably is still retaining its UFI unit. And yeah, the 11-tooth starters is what you want to see, because those are the ones with this similar setup. Again, this is a CDI changeover kit, which came with the pack and the trigger to eliminate all that bullshit, and I believe they sent you that too. But 9-tooth starters on the 20s through 35s run if they're unmolested, or if you're just going to use them as a parts motor, or if you have another ignition system sitting around that you can utilize, because you're going to get into some money eventually. Because like I said, those ones, we called them time bombs. I referred to them as El Destructo. So there you go, not a little tidbit from your friendly neighborhood boat guy. Do or do not, choice is always yours. And much love to all, and above all, stay tuned, my friends.